when we see the clock. I don't see it yet. Anyone see the clock? Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Yeah, there's the clock. Right, got it. Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you all our viewers, whether you're watching live or if indeed you watch on the replay. This is your weekly rugby analysis, a bit of armchair analysis, a bit of shite talking. With me this evening, as you're looking at the screen, should be there. I don't know which, I always get this wrong, but it's Matt Boland, James Grennan, Mike Reedy, and Peter Martin is joining me tonight. So welcome, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all. Now,
good evening all.
Gentlemen, how are we all? Are we all well?
Super.
Good, yeah. Live and breathing unaided, Pete.
Oh, good. Good, man. Well done to you. As someone I know used to always say to me, as long as you're looking down at the flowers and not up at the roots. There you go. That'll do you. Now, sorry, just a couple of comments coming in there. Right, folks. One thing we'll kick off. I don't want to spend too much time on this because it's got way too much airtime that it actually deserves. This Bongi Curry incident that happened. I see comments on South African websites saying that it's the English are disrespecting our culture and our language. Then you see Tom Curry and his family getting vile abuse online, getting death threats for suggesting what happened. I've listened to the actual audio. Someone posted the audio, and it's actually quite clearly, for me, it sounds that what was said was, and I'll hopefully I've pronounced this right, Wit can't. Now, that means white side in Afrikaans. Now, admittedly, it could sound can't, whatever it is, and admittedly, it does sound like something else in English. But Jesus Christ, the media, it just got blown out of all proportion. James Grennan, I'll come to you first on this. What do you make of all this?
Yeah, well, I speak Dutch in a former life, which is very, very similar to Afrikaans, and yeah, Wit can't is how it's pronounced in Afrikaans, and it does sound like what Tom Curry said it was. But in my view, you know, rugby is important. Our education is important, but rugby is importanter. And they need to understand in England that in other countries they speak different languages. And in fact, he was speaking to his teammates. He was clearly telling them that the ball was on the white side, and that's all it was. And it was a misunderstanding. Everybody rushed to be offended, including myself. And Pete, actually, it was your Peter Martin, your post saying about Gaunt and Kant, that the side. That's what I meant. Yeah, I should have known that straight away. But I was rushing to be offended as well as everybody else, and we all got offended. And there was no need to be offended because there was nothing to it. A language barrier issue. If you type in "choose my most beautiful side" into Google Translate and put that into Afrikaans, that sounds like something. No. Kies mijn mooiste kant.
Yeah, I know what that is. Yeah. Okay. Matt Boland, this whole debacle, just a waste of media space, waste of print. It just got blown out.
It is. Absolutely. You've got to remember, right? These lads are going hell for leather at each other, and blood is rushing, and fucking emotions are high. And even if he did call him a white cunt, he probably is. But like, you know, people say shit in the heat of the moment, and they don't mean it. Like, I remember playing a game of rugby years ago, and I'm not going to say who I was playing against, right? But one of the forwards turned around to me and said he was going to stab me in the car park after the match. Right? So,
De La Salle. It has to be De La Salle. Was it my old school? De La Salle has to be.
No, it wasn't.
Well, no, Limerick, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was actually in Dublin, right? And
I'm upset all the Munster fans.
Played the game, the whole lot. At the end, he came over and said, you know, I lost my head there, said something I should have said. Sorry about that. See you later. Shit happens. Fucking move on, lads. Grow up and get on with the game at hand. Like,
yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, we give it limited airtime, Matt. Peter Martin.
You asked the question.
Yeah, I'm just going to read the comment there, lads. Jerry Thornley was off the ball just now. He said we've got to remember that Afrikaans is Bongi's third language, and that Whiteside isn't a phrase they use. According to Jerry, they use theirs and ours.
Jesus Christ.
He said, she said.
At the end of the day,
Yeah,
Jerry
you have to
is
get balls and all that.
brilliant at predicting the Irish start in 23, and he is a journalist. So I will take the first part of that as being factually accurate. It's his third language. I'd say that a lot of the South Africans speak about 10 different languages, including dialects and so on. So yeah, look. It's gotten far too much airtime.
Yeah.
They're trying to cast a shadow. It's a final swing of the axe from English media, perhaps.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the final coming up, and of course, World Rugby are dotting I's, crossing T's by having their investigation, which will, like most of their investigations into some of these things, will end up being a whole pile of hot air and nothing substantial will come out of it. Nor should it.
Yeah,
look,
true.
There's nothing else really more. Really, I don't think there is to say on it.
Just
I just wanted to touch on it. Go on, Matt.
Just it says like I don't know who that user is now, but I knew it would be a misunderstanding. But Jesus, people don't need to be sending death threats, and I think that's one of the important things that needs to be come across out of this whole situation. No matter what happens, it's not fucking cool to send anybody any sort of fucking malicious content or death threats via email or via social media. Fucking get off your keyboards, lads. You wouldn't fucking say that to
Megan,
someone. But it's a load of bollocks.
Yeah. Okay, Mike Reedy, last word on this to you.
I just think it's quite sad, actually, to be perfectly honest, Joe. And I would say, in defence of Mbongi, there's absolutely no way a black South African rugby player would say that in the middle of his white teammates. I actually think it's embarrassing to just even suggest it. With what's gone on over the history of South Africa and even South African rugby, I think it is absolutely unbelievable that the accusation was made, to be honest with you. And I'm sure Tom Curry is probably embarrassed by it himself now. No, it was clearly a misunderstanding, and England should have come out like earlier and said, listen, there's obviously a language barrier and there's a misunderstanding. Let's draw a line under. We apologize for the accusation and leave it at that. But they haven't.
Yeah, and even Mike, if Bongi had come out and said, actually, folks, this is what I actually said, and this is what I
he
meant.
He didn't either, did he?
No, he didn't.
I don't think he should have, or he should have felt the need to give it any more airtime.
No, he probably. Do you know what you've all said is the truth. It has been given far too much airtime. But the fact that somebody has had death threats and there's all sorts, this has gone beyond.
Yeah.
That's disgraceful.
We're losing sight of what the real thing is here. Like rugby.
Yeah, we're losing sight of what's really important here, Mike. I can see your bottle of Jameson's gone fairly well down since last week.
Oh, I had a few actually.
Mike, what's going on?
Move on.
It wasn't
Right,
the
anyway,
share anyway, that's for sure.
What do we
nearly empty.
Matt Rowland, Jesus Christ, you all right there? Have you got a problem there, James? Or Mike, says he. Hello.
I'm good, yeah.
What I wanted to talk about, just again briefly, because there's loads of games for us to talk about. The new Rugby World Cup format, Matt. Just the bullet points. It's for 2027. Expanded to 24 teams, round of 16 introduced, which I still don't really get what that's all about. 2 teams from each pool, along with the best 4 third place teams. Reduced 7 weekends, window pool phase, which is fucking bollocks. Anyway, well, what is this a step in the right direction from World Rugby, or is it just Bill Beaumont trying to line his pockets?
Look, it could be a bit of both, but I do think it's better to have more teams in it because it gives the teams that were close to qualifying for this World Cup a chance to get into a World Cup. I mean, that's ultimately what all them international teams want to do, is play in a World Cup every 4 years. Do you know what I mean? And the fact that like it came down to Portugal and a drop kick or a penalty to knock USA out, they both could have been there anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's going to be more competitive. It's gonna give the lower nations more games, more international games. Like, it's only going to benefit them. It's it's whatever for the rest of the team or for the rest of the nations. But for the lower nations that are thereabouts, it'll give them more opportunities to get into a World Cup. And that's ultimately what they want to do. And they want to get better at rugby as well, you know. So it can't be a bad thing.
Right. Okay. James Grannon, this new 24 team thing, Rugby World Cup format. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to help grow the game. The more teams we have in it, the tier 2 nations or tier 3 nations, once they start playing with stronger opposition, that's just going to develop them. It hopefully develop the interest in the game in other countries. The Portugal one is interesting. My young fella is their team under 13s are hoping to tour in Portugal next year. So it'd be nice to see things growing and improving there, you know. But I think it's a good thing.
All right. Okay. Mike.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a good thing, and I mean, given that some of the lower tier nations like really equipped themselves well in this in our World Cup, like especially Portugal and I mean Chile to a degree, and you know, Fiji. Some of I think it can only be a good thing, you know, and why not? Like give them a go. But and if it also kind of eliminates the silliness of what happened in this World Cup, dividing it up a little bit more evenly, you know, where two teams.
Don't fucking start me on that fucking shite, Jesus.
So you know, it's heading in the right direction, and it is growing the game. That's what it's all about. You know, if we have more teams now, there might be a flip side to that, and when you get results like 100 points. Having said that, the highest score in this World Cup was against Italy, like a tier 1 nation. So, you know what?
True.
What can you say about that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Peter Martin, the new look Rugby World Cup for 2027.
Yeah, well, I suppose. Look, I don't want to sound like a negative Nelly, but it couldn't be much worse than what it was. So, you know, any kind of effort really would have meant, you know, it was going to be better anyway. My biggest gripe, I suppose, and I just like following various different journalists on Twitter and that, it's the inequity as regards the voting. That basically it's run by Sanzar and the Six Nations.
Yeah,
and I think on the whole expansion, on one of the crucial votes, basically, I forget which one it was, but it was one of the first round of votes about the expansion of the games. I think it was Argentina was the only dissenting voice, and they were asked for the reasons for it, and they basically said it wasn't going to do anything for the game in South America because they said America seems to be a little bit light as regards, you know, the likes of Chile and Uruguay's involvement. And of course, there's Brazil as well. Like, there you have Argentina batting for two other nations. You know, I just think that there's something inherently wrong about, like, you know, like, why not? Why can't they all have an equal vote? I don't understand why, you know, it's like a waiting thing. Whether now, obviously, there's probably some sort of formula based.
I think I have it here, Pete.
Yeah, that's the Nations League.
Excuse the interruption. I think I have it here. It was a tweet by Andy Good, and he said 12 rugby nations controlled 35 out of 51 votes.
Yes, that's the one
on the panel, and they only needed 39 votes to get the new Nations League and changes through. And Andy Good is highly critical of World Rugby, as he has been lately on Twitter, if you follow him. But I think that's what you're talking about.
It's just how they're getting to where they want to get there, like, which is the big votes, which is the vote for change. So it's basically a landslide, an easy landslide. That they're basically the big boys. You know, the fact that they have the size of weight of votes that they have was meant that once a number of them were on board, it was flying through. End of story.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be basically, you're never going to have a situation where there was going to be a split vote, or maybe a little bit of, I suppose, I hate to use but electioneering to basically garner votes for one side or another, but at least it would have basically teased stuff out a bit more, and a little bit more thought, a bit more planning might have went into what they were trying to do. Yes, it's going to result in more games, but like ultimately, I do think it is ultimately going to be a case of a rising tide is going to carry all boats. Like the big boys are going to keep getting the money because it's more games. There's more games for the top tier nations amongst themselves, while there is some for the lower. It's still not. It's not basically kind of balanced or kind of tilted towards really pulling up the tier 2 nations, I think.
Yeah, there's an interesting comment there, Pete. Kind of from what we're talking about. Excuse me. Rather than expanding the Rugby World Cup, they should have introduced a Rugby World Shield with promotion, relegation between both competitions. Smaller teams getting hammered by the All Blacks, 48 tries so far, and South Africa 27 tries so far. Does nothing to help smaller teams, but let them play amongst themselves on an equal footing in a shield.
Yeah,
all right.
There's nothing. Using the Wendy ball.
Dara, yeah. Dara. Sorry, Dara.
Good man, Dara. That's solid, very solid.
Sorry, I asked Dara to be on. I completely forgot. Sorry, Dara. Oops. Go on. Sorry, Pete.
Amnesia.
We'll have you on next week, Dara. Dara,
right.
have you on next week.
That's as close as you're going to get to apology now, Dara. That's as close as you're going to get. That's as close as you're going to get. All right. That's just it. Oh, yeah. No, I think just to coming back to the Shield scenario. I know the Champions League have it in basically where they have the third out of 4 place teams ends up in the Europa League. There's nothing to say that you could have something similar in the World Cup where there's a secondary competition kicks off after the pool stage overall. And it basically gives teams something continually to play for. And it means you could have something built in that it improves their coefficient for the following World Cup. So there's constant competition that they're basically you've got teams like Chile or Portugal who are going to qualify for the World Cup, but they're also they'll be almost guaranteed, if they don't fall apart entirely, they're going to be in a secondary competition with a chance of silverware, and which, if they win that particular silverware, it'll get them maybe a higher seeding for become a seeded nation in a group on their own, and also generally kind of boost their own coefficient overall for seedings if they are in a weaker group. It's just I don't see why they can't kind of formulate something around that. Like, there's plenty of, like, rugby is borrowing from other sports. Can they not just borrow a little bit from soccer, even though there's those out there and, we'll kick soccer because it is what it is and it's all the other problems. But there's good in the certain aspects of the game, particularly in organization level, that World Rugby could say, hang on a minute, we could definitely learn something here, or we could use that or mimic it or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, they do have longevity, so those competitions, in other sports.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. Matt or James want to throw in on that comment there, or anything? No. Grant. Okay. The other thing that came out this week was the New Look Pacific Nations. I don't know if you've seen this. That will take place in August and September. And this was touching on Pete and James and Mike, what you were talking about, Matt, I think you mentioned as well, about teams getting more game time. The New Look Pacific Nations that will happen next year. 3 pools of 3, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, Canada, Japan, and USA competing in their own kind of tournament. That's surely going to benefit everyone. Do we think, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, these lads, they want to be playing, and they want to be playing to the best of their abilities. And the only way they're going to do that is by playing more games. Having a competition like that or a system like that will only make them better, develop, and be able to compete at a higher level in a World Cup. Do you know what I mean? So, look, all these things are a step in the right direction. I mean, they may not be perfect, they may not work, but at least they're getting things going, or they're thinking outside of the box to help with development. So it can only be a good thing.
I doubt very much that fucking Bill Bowman come up with this, or Bowman.
He's a bollocks. He's
a dinosaur.
He's got fucking Alzheimer's or some fucking shite because he hasn't a fucking clue.
Sounds to me a bit like their version of the Six Nations. I think it would be a good thing.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I was coming on to you next, James, about your opinion on this. The new look Pacific Nations Cup. I like it. I must say, I do like it, James.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's just what sprung to mind to me was that it looks like a version of the Six Nations, and you know how much we love that. We love it over here, so yeah, let them have at it, I say.
Okay. I'm just sorry, James, as you're saying that it's a minimum of 3 matches per team, round robin pool matches followed by a final series taking place in Japan and USA, alternating the years. That'd be interesting. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Mike Reedy.
Yeah,
what do you think?
I'd definitely be in favour of that. I mean, I just saw some stat. Tonga had only played something like 10 or 12 games from the last World Cup to this World Cup.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Yeah.
I mean, if they can play 3 or 4 matches every year at least, extra plus, I mean, they're going to get the other ones thrown in here and there, the tour games and stuff like that. It can only be good for them. Like, I mean, when you've got a team only playing 10 or 12 matches over the course of 4 years, that's dreadful, really. That's how are you possibly supposed to get better yourself? And some of the guys playing for these teams, that's the only rugby. I mean, they're not going to get an awful lot of other rugby, top level rugby anyway. So,
But then, Mike, you have to look at the likes of. I just see a comment coming there. Surely there has to be something like that in Europe for the likes of Portugal,
absolutely,
Gibraltar, Chile, Spain. What's the name of that? What tournament do they do, Pete?
It's the European Nations Cup or something they call it. It's.
Oh, is it?
There is a secondary competition.
Yeah, there is.
It's probably they probably could improve the structure on it. Like if the likes of Spain, Portugal, Georgia, Germany, Holland. I don't know who else is playing in it. There's not Poland, I think, are in it as well, and I think Russia might have been in it at one stage as well. But I think there's issues around. It's not in a lot of the other European countries. It's not very well supported, attended. It's 2 men and a dog kind of watching. So
yeah.
But it all started that way, like over the course of time. You have to start at the bottom and work your way up. I don't know what other way is there of.
I remember being in the sports ground with me and that man and the 2 dogs watching many a game over there years ago.
Jesus, just waiting to be coming at that comment, James.
Yeah,
I did the same in Donnybrook when there'd be 20 of us in the stand in Donnybrook watching Leinster lose week in, week out. Jesus Christ, I know all too well. Anyway,
I was in Nappies when that happened.
You were this is early 80s, mid 80s, that sort of thing. When my dad brought me out because he wanted to go, so he dragged me along with him. Anyway, gentlemen, right, that's it. One thing that kept popping up as well on the tweet machine. Again, 2 minutes, lads. Some folks calling for the Six Nations to be expanded to 7.
No.
No.
It's fucking shite. Like this.
Who would you bring in?
Up again.
You have a free week then. Everybody has a free week. That's no good. No, sorry.
Yeah,
it has to be an even
a free week already between the rounds. Was it 2 and 3?
Yeah, but everybody has that free week at the same time. Like that's not that can be eliminated, but you can't eliminate a situation where you have an odd number of teams.
Yeah, James, Matt, this whole idea expanding the Six Nations, or just fucking leave it alone.
Leave it alone.
I'll leave it alone to hell.
Leave it alone.
Yeah.
I see Jared Brennan has come in with a comment there. Samoa's warm up against Ireland was their 10th post 2019 World Cup, which 2 were against Tier 1 teams. So they got fuck all rugby.
There you go. That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, very true. Right, lads. Anyway, enough about the ancillary topics that we're talking about. Let's get back to the actual rugby games. We had 2 semi-finals. One was an absolute fucking disaster. Argentina 6, New Zealand 44. Now, I thought that was an absolute
snorefest.
Disgrace. I think I posted at the time. I said it's hard to believe that this is an actual Rugby World Cup, a Rugby World Cup semi-final, and that's your scoreline. In a Rugby World Cup semi-final, there should be less than 5 points between the teams. That's just how badly the fucking Rugby World Cup did
Very
the
wrong.
draw. I know we're banging on about this fucking draw, but I said it to you as I was going to have a rant, and that was that. Oh, I fucking give
You're a
myself
man of your
fucking
word, Peter.
No, I just give myself fucking high blood pressure. Like it was a fucking disgraceful game. It
Thought that was a
really
Tanya
fucking was. No, it's not. It's fucking. I was so annoyed at the time. Anyway, 7 tries to fucking New Zealand. They deserved it. They played well, but worryingly, another yellow card. This is becoming a habit. If they do that in the final, good luck, lads. You can fuck off. Matt Boland, that particular semi-final. What did you think of that game?
Yeah, it was like a fucking pool match. It was shit. Like,
yeah, exactly.
If you look at the 2 quarterfinals between Ireland and New Zealand, which, by the way, broke records in fucking France. They had like 9.5 million people tuned in to watch that game, which was unbelievable. So that should have been a semi-final. And then you had the likes of South Africa and England, which was a 1-point game. Again, probably got loads of people watching it as well. That should have been a semi-final. That's what you need in a semi-final. Like you were saying, it should be a 1-score game because 2 teams were going toe-to-toe. Having that in a quarterfinal and having 2 top nation teams go out at that point is fucking stupid. But that was all down to the draw, which was done fucking pre-fucking 2019 by the looks of things. Do you know what I mean? So
James Glenn.
Disaster.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
That was the Friday night game. I was up at 5:30 that morning and had a busy day of it, and I came home and I said, right, I'll have a bottle or 2 and I'll watch this game. We'll see how it goes. And my head was nodding off coming up to halftime, and I said, fuck this shit. I handed the remote controls over to my wife and I said, I can't watch any more of that. I'll hear the final score in the morning, and I went off to bed. And it was a fucking disaster. Jesus,
which shouldn't be happening in a semi-final of the World Cup.
No.
Like.
I should have been on the fucking edge of my
You're handing over
on the edge of my seat watching that.
Easy.
Disaster.
Jesus, lads, I don't know. Sorry,
Your missus was never so happy to see the she almost went from the shock.
Jeez, what's going on? I got the fucking remote control. Sorry,
I'll tell you what. I mean, we're all talking about wanting to grow the game, but that's a bad advertisement for the World Cup. By the way, that is having that as a semi-final. I mean, anybody looking at that from another sport are going to think, "What the fuck?" I mean, that's embarrassing. It is actually. That's what it is, and it should never happen. That should never happen. Not now at this juncture. We're 10 World Cups in, and we're still pulling out shit like that, like a semi-final it should never be a situation where that can happen. Like, it's not professional enough. And for them to make the decision to do the draw 3 years before the World Cup is fucking shameful. And now they got what probably they deserved. I mean,
not what we deserved.
No, but that game alone should ensure that this never fucking happens again. It's as simple as that. Because it's not good enough.
But did you hear when they're doing the next?
Fucking World 2 years before. That's more bollocks.
No. Rugby World Cup 2027. The draw is being done in January 2026.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. If there's only a year out now, is reasonable because I don't know why it takes so long. Like they're worried about
No, but you got logistics and you got to organize.
Yeah,
I understand why it would take a year.
Any other sport like is going to be the same, and in fairness, it's a lot easier to organize rugby than it is, say, football, for instance, because fans are
you need the same bloody logistics.
Well, they have, but there's a big difference. Rugby supporters are civilized and they don't go and cause fucking mayhem in another.
They're not scumbags, in other words, Mike. Is that what you're saying?
No, honestly.
Say what you mean, Mike.
I've been a Champions League final. I've been to 2 Champions League finals in the last 10 years. I swear, I never felt comfortable once. I was in Kiev about 5-6 years ago, and I was in Madrid the year after. And I did not feel comfortable walking down the street amongst, like, I was with Liverpool fans, and they're fucking bonkers, all of them. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I've been going to rugby for 45 years, international rugby, and I've never seen an incident anywhere ever
Well, since you were 5.
Since I was 5.
For me, what I
I'm a bit more than that, mate.
what I can't understand about the Rugby World Cup draw, how they can do a Rugby World Cup draw 3 years prior to a tournament when teams haven't even fucking qualified for the fucking thing.
Yeah, but look at what we ended up with, because
you get the teams that are fucking picked out and they're in the pool, and then all you've Asia won or Europe won or America won. It's fucking that's fucking stupid.
Listen, that's fair enough, though, Matt. It's they can do that. They can do that because there might be situations where there's still teams needing to qualify. So that's fair enough.
So
but they can win to their groups.
Wait till they qualify and then do the draw when everybody's fucking qualified. Put all the fucking names in the hat, and that's
In
it.
fairness,
But that's why they're doing it.
I agree with Mike. I agree with Mike, right? About the World Cup fans, okay? Because explain to me this, right? When was the last time you saw an Irish guard giving directions to Irish fans in front of the gendarmerie, and the Irish fans going, "Boom, the sexy Garda"? That does not happen.
No.
That does not happen with the Wendy ball.
Here's the polar
That
opposite.
does not happen.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
We need more of that.
Here's the complete polar opposite. Last year Champions League final in Paris, Liverpool and Real Madrid. Absolutely, there was fucking tear. The police were firing tear gas, and there wasn't actually any trouble ahead, but they were firing tear gas into supporters, and
they probably fucking deserved it. That's why.
They possibly. No, I'll tell you what. You can always feel a vibe. You can feel a vibe. I remember walking down the streets in Madrid, going towards the game, and fans walking along the street. Now every shop in the city is fucking shut, and every premises is shut. So the shutters are down and guys are banging the shutters with their fists. And all I'm thinking is, fucking behave yourselves, you bunch of hooligans. It's embarrassing, man. I just can't get... I'm used to rugby, and I went...
Why are you embarrassed?
I am, because I thought, Jesus, this is embarrassing. Fucking behave yourselves. And I went because my son wanted to go. Right, I won't ever go again. I'll never go to one again.
I was about to ask, what the fuck did you bother going in the first place for? Okay,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, what's that like?
I'll tell you how I ended up going to Kiev. My son said, "Dad, I'm going to the final." Now Liverpool were in the quarter-final. They'd won the first leg. They weren't even in the semi-final. They said, "I'm going to the final. You're coming." I said, "Oh my fuck!" And Jennifer says, "He's not going to Ukraine."
Enough soccer. People have been tuning out. For fuck's sake, let's talk about rugby.
Jesus Christ Almighty, Mike Reedy, would you?
I know.
Anyway,
I'm out of the world,
Off on a tangent.
I'm sure you are. Yes, yeah, exactly, Matt. Yeah, another tangent that we shoot off on. Right, I'll go around that way. Peter Martin to you, the second semi-final. Which was...
We didn't even get to talk about the first one, so we'll start with the first one and then go on to the second one.
Oh, sorry, go on. Sorry, Mike distracts me with his fucking roundy ball tail.
You're starting to sound like fucking Joe Duffy. Go on.
Chicken Kievs.
Shoot.
1850, 715.
Shower. Go on, Teresa. And what did he do then?
Anyway, Argentina versus New Zealand was a ball. Absolutely. I've just written down, just as regards, like Matt was going on about, and being entertained and the whole lot, and how, our quarterfinals, including ourselves and the French, were amongst the two most entertaining matches. I'm just going to call out, in no particular order, what I feel were the entertaining matches. So, the opening match, France versus New Zealand. France versus South Africa, New Zealand versus ourselves versus South Africa, South Africa versus the English, Portugal versus Fiji, Fiji versus Australia. Now, throw in another one, but I guarantee you it was probably another pool match involving either Portugal or Fiji, because they were two of the most entertaining games to watch.
Wales
outside ourselves and France and New Zealand. Because everything else, by and large, was absolute pants.
Yeah.
My point being is that nearly any of those matches, obviously, particularly ourselves, didn't happen, but would have been fit for semi-final material. That's the way. That's the point I'm saying. You know,
Is that what the South Africa said
me.
when they had their match that they had a final, or was New Zealand said they had a final last week? When after the game they said they had their final when they played Ireland. That was, they considered that like playing in a final.
Oh yeah. I could well believe it.
down to the wire, like
Sorry,
so.
Pete. There's and for everyone here, just so we'll end on this about the semi-final. Was it not an insult to all concerned that New Zealand chose to finish a World Cup semi-final with 14 players on the pitch?
Yeah,
Matt.
Absolutely.
We'll start Matt.
Like that shouldn't be allowed. It actually should not be allowed because it's totally disrespectful to the opposition. Now, in saying that, like, I know it was a semi-final and it was really one-sided, but again, that's down to the fucking look at the draw or the way that the pools were laid out and all that. It shouldn't have happened, and New Zealand shouldn't have done that.
Yeah,
that's completely disrespectful.
Well, it's
I saw someone.
Matt,
Hold on, Mike. Hold on. It's not your go yet. I saw someone say that Peter Martin's going to slag me now with the finger and the hands and all that. That New Zealand should have had at least one player stand on the pitch, be it in the in-goal line or something like that, just to show, just not to show or not to be disrespectful. And why couldn't they just do that? And then it wouldn't be into the record books as finishing with 14 players. Anyway, James Grennan.
maybe they were just sending a message to World Rugby how fucking shit it was that it was a semi-final and they were so far ahead they could afford to play with 12 fucking players, let alone 15. Maybe that's what they were doing. I applaud them if that's what they were doing. But if they were just being shown off and they were being disrespectful, then I don't like that. Rugby is about respect. I say it time and time again. Rugby is all about respect. There should have been 15 players on the field, but if they were trying to send a message to World Rugby and the Blazers, then that's the only excuse I could think of for doing it.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Now, Mike Reedy. Now, your go. Off you go.
As far as I'm concerned, it contravenes the ethics of rugby to do something, to pull a stroke like that. I mean, just finish out the game in a proper manner. Put back on the player when he's scheduled to come back on, and do and behave professionally. It's wrong, you know, and it does bring things into dispute a little bit. But you know what? It's done, and it's fucking forget about it. I don't know. But they shouldn't have done it, and they know it. And I very much doubt that they would do it again.
Yeah,
but I'd like to think they wouldn't anyway.
No,
Peter Martin. Any final thoughts on this before we move on?
I suppose that the question is that there's obviously a loophole there that they decided that, do you know what, we're not going to get in trouble by leaving 14 on the pitch, so we'll do it. Now, I was going to say it almost smacks of South Africa going, if they decided to go 7-1 on their bench, because, you know, like the way Matt Williams got all wound up about, you know, it's against the spirit of the game. It's one of these. It's a dangerous area.
I don't mind that, Pete. I mean, yeah, no, it is. But I don't mind that. Sorry, I don't mind that. That's within the laws. That's fair enough. Like you're not disrespecting anything there.
But this is my question, though. This is my question, though. Is it in the laws that they actually have to return a player? They have to have 15 men on the pitch. If it's a case that there's no yellow or red
I don't
sanction.
No.
This is the question. You know,
I don't know actually.
You know,
but
like the fact that it kicked up a fuss was because of the respect thing. But if it's a case that there's nothing there, well then World Rugby maybe need to look at that and close that off.
I mean, the same question could be risen about the 7-1 antics, and like there are grey areas in our game. That have been like highlighted in this World Cup.
Well, Mike, the whole thing about the 7-1 bench, that was a risk. That's all basically down to risk. There's nobody saying once South Africa covered off on having front row cover, there's nothing else to say that they have to have a scrum half, they have to have someone covering the back three. It's entirely their decision. It's a risk element that they're willing to bear, and they bore it. And like, you know, that's their thing, and in much the same way. Not going off on a tangent, but going off on a tangent about when Damien Williams called for the 22 did the, you know, catching the mark. Like, that's not normal, but it's within it's a tactical thing. Like, you know, it
just seems to be a resi.
It's a free, it's a choice to say, well, look, if you have an angle, if you feel you have an advantage there, sure, go ahead and use it, kind of thing. It's broadening people's minds a little bit, you know, as regards, you know, the tactics, because a lot of it's the same. An awful lot of it's gone perhaps a little bit same in the last few years. Now, I'm not a fan of Razzie, but one thing he certainly has, he's making people think, and I suppose that we could well be an awful lot more, this little bit more thinking outside the box, you know, when it comes to tactics and rugby.
Well, maybe that is
okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
The other, Mike, we haven't got all night. You know what I mean? Seriously. Put your hand up if you want to.
In your box, yeah.
What's that?
Right, seeing as you're dying to talk, Mike, I'll come to you with the other semi-final, England against South Africa. What did you think of that?
I thought it was a hell of a game, to be perfectly honest, Joe. Like, you know, for what it was, there wasn't a lot of rugby in it, in fairness, but there was a hell of a contest. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I was supporting England. I wanted the Northern Hemisphere team in the final. As bad as England are, it would have made for a poor final.
You made that perfectly clear in the group.
It would have made for a poor final, to be honest, if England had qualified for it. So let's get South Africa in there. Now, South Africa were well. I think they took England for granted, to be perfectly honest, Joe, and didn't probably give them the respect, and it almost backfired on them. By the way, it almost backfired on them, and I would have probably sniggered if I had. I would have actually cheered if I had, to tell you the truth. But you know what? We're going to make for a better final to have South Africa versus the All Blacks, because they're two better teams, and England don't deserve to be in a World Cup final. Let's cut to the chase. They're not good enough. They shouldn't be anywhere near a World Cup final. So
okay, fair enough. James Grennan.
Yeah, there was a comment by one of the pundits there that it was like anti-rugby. There wasn't a whole lot of rugby in it. There was a lot of kicking, but the other comment they were making was that it was a stroke of genius taking Manny Libbok off after 35 minutes or 33 minutes, because they needed a different 10 there to run the game that England were playing, and England had the upper hand. They were winning the battles, the kick chase. They were winning everything, and I agree with Mike. They were, South Africa maybe took England for granted because they were shite all the way through. They were utterly muck. And Mike, I think you're living in the UK far too long if you're supporting England in that one. I have 800 reasons there that you shouldn't be supporting them. But back to the game, a lot of people saying, what you call him, Pollard, when he came on, he kicked well, and he had the winning kick, and everyone then were saying, well, look, we should be hoping that South Africa win the final now because we're the only team that bet them. But I would say if Pollard was on, we wouldn't have bet them. We'd have got a rude awakening there. I, for one, I thought it was a great tense game, and I was thinking, surely they can't do it. Surely they can't. England can't win this. Surely not. South Africa, and I was on the edge of my seat for that one, right to the end of the game. And I have to say I enjoyed it, even though there wasn't a whole lot of rugby in it. And I'll be supporting the All Barretts in the final.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for that, James. Mike, Matt, what did you make of it?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, before the game, I wanted South Africa to win, just because I didn't want to have to listen to fucking England getting to another final, blah, 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 and all this sort of shit, right?
It's coming
on the other hand, South Africa, they're fucking... Shut the fuck up with that, will you? Fucking shite. That's a fucking Wendy ball fucking tune. Don't ever let me hear you say that fucking shite again, right? like for the South African fans, the way they fucking disrespect everybody, and when they lose, they fucking talk to shite and they fucking say blame everybody else but themselves, blah blah blah. I was like, I don't want them in it either. So I was between a rock and a hard place, being honest. As the game went on, and England were mediocre, and it was a good game from an outsider's perspective. But if I was an England or a South Africa fan, I would have been fucking shitting myself rightly, because you didn't know which way it was going to go. But I was glad to see, like, South Africa, I think, totally disrespected the English, and I think they just presumed that they were just going to turn up to this game and win, and it was a big shock for them. I kind of, there was a part of me that wanted England to beat South Africa. There really was. I'm not proud of saying that. I really am not. I'd never, ever say I'd support England in any stretch of any imagination or of any game. There was a part of me that wanted just to fucking shut the South Africans up. But look, South Africa saw the game out. They won. I think they'll lose in the final to New Zealand.
All right. Okay. Peter Martin.
Yeah, hell of a semi-final from an entertainment point of view, and like as was James and as everybody else has said, you know, there was very little actual rugby play. This was a game that was won not by skill but by the likes of character and strength and mentality from the South Africans. The English basically just gave buckets of character and fuck all skill, but it just goes to show how much character, you know, goes into the game of rugby. Like, it's not just all about, you know, skill and, you know, tactics and power at scrum time, which incidentally, I'm just looking at a stat here. South Africa unsurprisingly won the most scrum penalties at the World Cup, but Ireland is tied with England as regards scrum penalties. So, you know, it's just a slightly interesting stat, you know, that we're not that badly underpowered at scrum time compared to other nations. But look, you know, again, Ben O'Keefe came under scrutiny for various different bits and pieces. You know, the scrum penalty against Genge, which I thought was pretty conclusive, to be honest. I know people were bitching and moaning about Vincent Koch coming in at an angle, but it was all down to you know, once the angle was shown the other side for it, it was Genge, like he went down on the knee, and that's enough. So look, you know, O'Keefe was fairly clear on the communication.
This is well Sarah Duffy isn't on, Peter. You're talking about Koch coming in at a funny angle.
Go on out of that. I can see.
Yes, I am talking about Vincent Koch.
I can hear Sarah. I can hear Sarah Duffy laughing.
I can hear the tears of laughter rolling down the cheeks.
I can hear Sarah Duffy laughing.
We're choking on our gin.
Spread out a gin.
She could be choking on something else.
We have a South African viewer on tonight, so we have Louis, and I'm sorry if we're being very harsh there, Louis, but as Sarah Weston put it, we're more against Razzie than the fans, because he's just
that's
annoying.
That's it. Yes, that's it. Razzie is the most annoying person. He's like, I'm not going to actually say it. Go on.
He's living in your head anyway.
He is, yeah, as is Finn Russell, and no, actually Finn Russell isn't actually. Finn Russell got rid of him.
The spoofer. That's actually something now, maybe for next week, Peter. Oh, well, you won't be here, will you?
I might.
The spoofer 15.
It's either
from the World Cup.
Who? Which one? For South Africa or what?
No, the spoofer 15.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I know the 10. Yeah. No, it's either next week or the week after. I'm not sure which one I missed, but anyway, there you go. Right. If you were to put your if you were to put on your crystal ball, gentlemen, there's two other games. I don't know if we're going to get.
If I had a crystal ball, Peter, I'd sit down very carefully.
Dad joke extraordinaire, folks. Dad joke.
Can we kick him off, no?
Oh, no.
Jesus Christ. Now,
It really is a toss up. It
Paul
really
would
is
be
a toss
here
up
talking
between
fucking
dad
millions
jokes
after
there in the
below.
corner and Brosnan and the fucking Wi-Fi.
Jesus Christ. Hold on. Before we get to the URC games, there are two more games on in this Rugby World Cup. One is on Friday, one is on Saturday. This is what I was talking about. Your crystal ball, gentlemen. Peter Martin, I'm coming to you first. We'll deal with the bronze medal. Argentina versus England. Go for it. What's your thoughts on that one?
Jesus Christ. Well, it's an opportunity.
Alan Wickers off you.
Yeah. I think it's an opportunity for Argentina to actually turn up and fucking play and to get revenge for their pool defeat. But like, to be perfectly honest, Argentina for me have been absolutely shocking themselves in Italy as regards teams who just simply haven't turned up at this World Cup. Like I can't fathom what has gone wrong with Argentina, whether Checa has just lost the dressing room or they're just not motivated, but they're playing absolutely dire rugby. There's fuck all creativity in that back line. I know Contepomi is there, but maybe is there a question mark over him, what he's doing with that team, because they look a totally different team than when they were in the Rugby Championship. Rugby Championship, should they bet New Zealand and they bet Australia away from home? Like, fucking hell, like, that's significant for them. And yet, no, they're just absolutely appalling to watch. Like, they've lost the power in the scrum. Their set of forwards are no longer the to be feared. They won 6-7 penalties, scrum penalties. It's another stat. That's not what you expect from the Argentina teams of the past. To be, that's where that was the bread and butter was the pack and the scrum for them. Everything based around it, but it's not there now.
So do you think England would beat them, Pete?
Oh, do you know what? I don't fucking care.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
That's the truth. I just don't care.
Yeah, all right. All right. Well, if you were to walk into, if I gave you a tenner and said, Pete, go in and put a bet on that match, who would you put your money on?
5:30 at Newmarket.
Yeah, more likely. Look, by being a short head, it'll be Argentina purely to get to finish because surely, but fuck, they can't be at that shite again. There has to be. They have to kind of look at themselves, good shake, and say, like, Christ Almighty, beat England.
Right.
And I think the English team of the announcement is not even all that strong, in my opinion. But there you go.
No. Okay. Mike Reedy, the bronze medal match. Argentina.
I agree with what Peter said. I'd like to see Argentina turn up for one game in the course of this World Cup. I have to say I don't think they will, though.
You're not going to be supporting England again.
I'm not going to support anybody. I'm
supporting himself.
I do think England will probably win it. They beat them already, and they scored 3 points or 6 points in that game, in the first game, and they're dreadful. They've been dreadful the whole World Cup.
Can't fucking remember.
So I'll say England will win.
Okay, James Grennan. I'm
going out to a party Friday night, a joint 50th birthday party for a few people, and I couldn't give a shit. I'll be drinking suds.
Is it a keys in the glass bowl?
No, we're going to a public house.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Wouldn't stop you.
Go and have a few drinks. There will be apparently 2 TVs on in the background, and the party starts at 8:00. So I don't know. I don't think I'll even be watching it, to be honest. I agree. I'd like to see Argentina showing up and playing a bit of rugby for Contepomi and those guys. Who's somebody ringing me here now? All right. Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Look, I'm not hugely interested in it. Couldn't care less.
But like, I'll watch it because it's rugby. But whoever wins, I don't care. But I'll watch it because it's rugby. Yeah, Matt Boland.
I couldn't give a flying fuck. And that-
All
and
right,
that's
fair
just
enough.
being-
So,
that's
right.
just-
God,
just being
you're a
honest.
great pundit.
I
you are.
like.
All right.
I don't.
Oh.
I just don't understand a losing final for people to celebrate not making it to a fucking final. It's a load of bollocks. I don't think I've watched one third, fourth place playoff in any fucking World Cup, and I wouldn't be arsed watching it now on Friday. I'd take that tenner that you're giving me to bet on fucking 2 and put it to 2 points in the pub. That's what I do.
Would you get 2 points for a tenner now?
It wouldn't kill you.
What fucking pub are you going to? What pub are you going to?
Yeah.
You won't be fucking going
Right,
to Temple Bar, right?
Nah, fuck
No,
Temple
yeah,
Bar.
no,
They'll only give me 1 point.
Tampa Bar's a kip. Matt, back to you. Now, the final itself, the Rugby World Cup final. One team is going to break records. Was it the four? One of them, they won it
Yeah.
4 times. Was it four times? 4 times. Yeah, Matt.
They're both
Right,
going for
go
4
on.
times. So they're both going to break
Yeah, they're
records. But no matter who wins this game, right, there will be another record broken because it'll be the first team to ever lose a match in a World Cup to go on and win a World Cup.
No, South Africa
And-
did it last time.
And
think
Will
so.
Jordan for
South
twice
Africa did it in 2019.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
New Zealand beat them in
Yeah.
the first game.
Oh, fair.
Go on,
fair
lads.
enough.
Go on.
Yeah.
We've 4 minutes left, and we've got the
Look,
URC
it's-
games to go to. Matt, go on. Final.
It's going to be a whopper of a final. And look, they're both going to want to win because obviously they're both going for the fourth. It'll be look, New Zealand are going to be looking to get revenge on fucking South Africa for thumping them before the fucking World Cup. Do you know what I mean? New Zealand or South Africa this is their big plan, Razzie's big plan. This was the World Cup they were going for. 2019 was the bonus one, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, Razzie. I hope you fucking lose because you're a prick. I'd be supporting, as James Grennan has coined them, the All Barretts. Go the All Barretts.
All right, fair enough. James Grennan, you're going for the All
Yeah.
Barretts in the final.
Yeah, I'm supporting the All Barretts. I don't know. With Louis, our viewer aside, I couldn't be listening to the Safa supporters after the match if they win it. I couldn't bear that now. I'm sure they're not all bad, Louis. I understand that, but just a fucking fair chunk of them that are just annoying to listen to. The New Zealand fans, there's a bit of crack in them, and some of their banter is actually quite funny. I think New Zealand play a better brand of rugby. They came good at the right time, and I think they'll win it. But there won't be much in it. There'll be maybe 3 to 5 points.
Yeah, I would agree. Mike Reedy.
I think the fact that South Africa have had 3 fairly hard games in a row could come against them, and I don't know though. They're it's a hard one to call, but I'm going to side with the All Blacks as well. Do you know something? I've got every fucking thing wrong in the last few weeks, so
Don't break the habit of a lifetime.
I've turned into Peter
Exactly,
Burke.
yeah.
My
Actually,
predictions are not the
fuck
shit.
off.
On that note there, Mike, please, Peter Burke, do not fucking give a prediction to this fucking final, will you please? Because I actually want fucking the All Blacks to win.
Gregor Galway's going for Go Team Kitsoff, so I guess he's following their new star. He'll be supporting their new star in the final.
Man.
Yeah.
Gregor's the ultimate man. Peter Martin, if I should have maybe preempted my question. It's nothing to do with the fans or whatever. But who's the better team? Who is the better team? New Zealand or South Africa? 1 to 8, 9 to 15.
We know on Saturday.
Yeah, well, we will. But I mean, who
Yeah,
is going to win this based on the players they have? Go on.
Well, who I think will win, who I want to win. When you look at the South African squad overall and who's been, and as Matt has pointed out, Razzie has been building towards this World Cup, and they have the bonus one already in the bank. I think, with all the various different things that are going on around that South African team, between, they've had a couple of significant injury comeback. Sia Khaleesi's back in. He was effectively borderline written off about 9 months ago. Pollard is back in. Has he played 180 minutes in total almost since he's come back? I don't think he has.
I don't
if
think
even,
played that much.
If even in 6 months. So he's played so little rugby, and he closed out the match there against England, albeit it was not a rugby match. It was just a strength of character and so on competition. Look, we know that the All Blacks team is not the greatest. This is not a McCall-led, that class of 2015 or beforehand where, like, there was some all-timers in that squad. I think, to be honest, it's going to be it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be won and lost in the coach's box. Like Schmidt and Jason Ryan have brought so much to Ian Foster's team, because Foster was on the way out, don't forget, 12-15 months ago, after we bet them in the 3-test series. It was unthinkable stuff. So I suppose there's Foster's got a 71% winning record, which shouldn't be discounted. Look, it's very, very hard to call. My own preference from a rugby perspective is for the All Blacks to win it. So that's, I suppose that's my long-winded way of giving you an answer.
Okay, sorry, Peter. I was going to ask you a question there. I didn't want to interrupt you. Is it a game that's going to be won off the kicking tee?
Possibly.
I would say that's down to conditions somehow. If it's going to be if the weather is bad, that's my view. Anyway, I think it's going to be tactical stuff. I think Joe Schmidt is there. I don't think we're going to see the absolute mauling that we saw at Twickenham. I think it's going to be a far greater game. I think there's no team, and I'm saying this perpetually, and I'm set up saying it, but there's no team like the All Blacks to learn from a loss. There's no other team who does it, and they will have learned so much, and it'll stand to them, I think.
Okay, as you said last week, Pete, for those Star Trek fans, the All Blacks are like the Borg, which I totally understand. Huge Star Trek fan. Right. We had the 4 provinces were in action for the URC. Jesus Christ, we're over time already. Let's just fly through these. Matt Boland, did you see Zebra versus Ulster? Zebra losing that by 4 points, 36-40. Ulster coming out on top.
Didn't see it.
Grand job. James Grannon?
I didn't see it either.
No, I didn't either.
Mike Reedy? Grand job. Pete?
No.
All right. James Grennan, I know you saw this one because you were at it. You were hobnobbing with the Big Mac and Dave Heffernan. Connacht 34, Ospreys 26. Jesus, Connacht were hockeying Ospreys in the first 20 minutes.
They were, and if you saw it on telly there, Max Skull on the pints. I was over his left shoulder. So I don't think I made the telly, but I was awful close. It was a good first 20 minutes. They looked like they were going to run in a quicker score on them, but they took the foot off the gas and they let them get back in awful close, which was a little bit disappointing. I got a message there today from Jack Ainger, who was on last week, thanking us for having him on the show and asking did I enjoy the game, and he's hoping that we do the same again next week against Glasgow. But entertaining game, and I had good crack with Mac and Dave Heffernan as well.
Good stuff, excellent stuff, and good photos, by the way, James, as well. Matt Boland, the Connacht game, did you see that?
I saw bits of that game, yeah. I think I didn't see the first. I saw more the second half than I did the first half, so I can't really look. Connacht, it was a good result for them. It was great to see the lads on the side of the pitch. Fucking Mac Hansen, that fucking clip of him sculling the point was fucking hilarious.
Love that.
Although he spilled half the fucking thing down his shirt, gobshite. Anyway.
All right, Peter Mark.
Easy, no, he's not
Well, there you
Irish
go.
because we don't like beer.
Apprentice Paddy.
Peter Martin, Connacht v Ospreys. Did you see it? Or any interest? Or
No, I didn't see any of that game. The only question a question to James is that okay? It's the first game out in the EORC. Have you seen a discernible change in style or a few little things that might be different from the Andy Friend era, or are we still too early yet?
I think it's a little bit too early, yes. Yeah, they look sharp in attack, all right. I thought the scrum was good. We have John Muldoon back in the ranks as well, and we have Scott Fardy in there. So I saw a little bit of promise there. That I thought, yeah, this could be a good season.
all right, great stuff, lads. Well done for that.
Good stuff.
Hold on. Well, Mike Reedy, did you see
No,
it?
I
Any
didn't.
interest?
I didn't see any of that game either. No, I was working on Saturday morning and until early until the evening, so I didn't see either of the first two games. I'm really pleased Connacht won that one, and I'm glad Ulster got through the other one as well. But
Did you see the Munster game, Mike?
I did, yeah, I did. I watched all that.
Munster winning that by 7 points, 34-21 against the Sharks. Go on, give us your 2 minute
Munster played very well. Scored five tries, I think, or 6 tries, and played. I thought they played very well, and deserved to win. Comfortably enough. But it was a decent.
Fair enough.
On you go.
All right. No, sorry. Go on. Okay, Peter Martin. The Munster game. Did you see that? Or any
Didn't
interest
see it.
Whatever.
Didn't see
All
it.
right, grand job. Matt Boland.
Yeah, I watched that game. Look, it was a good result for Munster. Like Sharks, they're not great. They don't fucking seem to travel. None of the South African teams seem to travel, but it was a good performance by Munster. Yeah, good game. Nothing else really to report.
All right, grand job. All right, James Grannon.
Good to see Joey Carberry back, actually.
He actually played well.
All right, calm down. James Grannon.
Yeah, I saw about 20 minutes of that game, and I thought, yeah. To that point, I thought Joey did play well for the bit that I saw. But yeah, good to see the 3 of the 4 home provinces winning anyway.
Yeah, okay. And I don't think we've time to go into the Glasgow Leinster match.
I did watch that.
I'm gonna have to cut it off here. Right. Okay, folks. So good night, and that was great. Anyway, go on, Matt Boland. Glasgow 43, Leinster 25.
Yeah, it was. Look, it was a shit game. Like, well, it was a shit game, but it was shit from our point of view. Leinster, they had parts they played well in. There was parts they didn't play well in. They were losing, and then they came back, and I think they were back within maybe 6 or 7 points or something. And it actually looked like they were kind of building momentum up to finish the game off, but Glasgow just fucking stormed off in the end.
I think I was well impressed with Glasgow, to be honest with you. I really was.
Glasgow are one of them fucking golden teams for us. They have been over the years.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. James Grannon, did you see that game?
Yeah, I saw that game. Donald is here behind the PC. He's watching or listening in, and he made the point that the Scottish they had their internationals back where Leinster didn't, and which I think is a good point. I thought Leinster were going to come back into it, but unfortunate to not win.
Yeah. All right. Mike Reedy.
Yeah, I thought Leinster, like, they defended poorly out wide, and they got bullied in the scrum, and couldn't really get back into the game. I was really impressed with that Tommy. Is it Tommy O'Brien? Is he related to
the centre
O'Brien?
The blonde hair?
The blondy-haired lad.
I don't think so. The blonde-haired centre.
Yeah, he looked a good player.
What did he play? Did he play wing?
Winger. He played on the wing. He played on the. I was impressed with him.
Yeah, I know
they had a bit of a mix. Right? They're missing 20 players, Leinster, so it's difficult to. And Scott and Glasgow had a pretty strong outfit, but they got bullied in the scrum, which, it's an area that needs to be addressed now going forward, like from an Irish perspective. you know, we want a bit of strength and depth coming through. So I was interested to see how they would cope against like Ferguson and like pretty much Glasgow's full front row. But they did okay, Leinster, to a degree, but you know, they obviously came short.
Okay, go on. Last word on this to Peter Martin, and then we really have to go because we're way over time. Go on, Pete.
I didn't see the game.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Talk about building up
Not
a
my
fucking
fault
ending.
you took as long as you did. Jesus Christ, I needed a shave. And
I wasn't fucking talking. Right, anyway.
Give yourself a week off next week.
And on that, okay. It's either next week or the following. I don't know anyway, on that note, folks, really thankful to Matt Boland, James Grennan, Mike Reedy, and Peter Martin. We will see you again, same time next week in the group, live at 8:30. And on our YouTube channel, just search for Mauls, Balls and All, and you'll find us all there. Good night, folks. Talk to you
later. Good night, everybody.
Cheers.
Take it easy.
Thanks for looking in.
Good luck.